Hello everyone, and welcome to day number 84 of your daily Chofetz Chaim. Today we conclude the 10th and final chapter of the laws of Lashon Hara. And the Chofetz Chaim writes in halacha number 17, if someone did something wrong, and someone approaches you and asks, who did it? Now, even though you know exactly who did it, and you also know that the person who's asking suspects you of having done it, nevertheless, you should not say that that person did it. Rather, you should say, I didn't do it. Unless the Chofetz Chaim says this is something that you would be allowed to share anyway, meaning that you've fulfilled all of the 7 conditions that are necessary to say Lashon Hara. But other than that, you would not be allowed to share the information. Now, the Chofetz Chaim in the Be'er Mayim Chaim on the bottom explains that what if it was a case where there were only 2 people in question? So then by your saying that you didn't do it, that would mean that you're saying that the other person did it. So the Chofetz Chaim says, and it depends. If it's something that was definitely a wrong thing to do, then you are allowed to still say, I didn't do it, even though that necessarily means that it was the other person who did it. However, if it's not something that was really wrong, and it's just that the person who's asking thinks it was wrong, then it's not so simple that you are allowed to even say that you didn't do it, and you might just have to avoid answering the question altogether. And the Chofetz Chaim also notes on the bottom that this is all only discussing where the person who's asking doesn't need this information, he simply wants to know. But if he needs the information, that's a different story altogether, and that will be discussed later on. And then the Chofetz Chaim continues on top, and he says that this is all talking about, strictly speaking, from the perspective of the actual halacha. However, if a person is able to go beyond the letter of the law and to be extra pious, then it would be even better to take the blame themselves, even though they hadn't done it. As he says, we find in the Gemara that there were a number of sages who did this, and they took the blame for things that they did not commit, in order that the person who actually did it should not be embarrassed by being discovered. And the Sefer Chassidim also says, for those on the high pious level of Chassidim, it says that if you are in a group of people and something was done that was inappropriate, and we don't know who it was, then a person should say, it was I who did it, even though you yourself actually did not do it. And with this, we conclude the first section of the Sefer Chofetz Chaim, the laws of Lashon Hara, and from here and forward we will begin the laws of Rechilus.